Europe is starting to build fortifications on the Russian borders. They're talking about building up arms. I mean, Europe doesn't really have to worry about weapons, building up weapons, even if they don't have the capacity, like you mentioned before. They don't have the energy infrastructure right now to really do anything, but the United States does. And they're only separated by the ocean of the Atlantic, and they can easily ship and fly these things over very quickly. The response time for the United States military, I think it's 72 hours. I'm going to close my door because we got all kinds of crazy stuff going on. You guys can probably hear.
Listen, you say that, but Russia alone is outproducing the entire West 4 times over, plus in artillery, in ammunition, in lots and lots and lots of things. Like all these big, like you can have the USA may have the most powerful air force. I'm not contesting that. It seems to be quite true. You don't win a war with that. You win a war with infantry, with ammunition, with strategy, with logistics. I don't think the USA has all that. And you talk about the USA has the capacity for industrial and military industrial production. Yeah, in theory, maybe, but they don't. They're not capable of. They've expended a lot in this war. They're not able to supply Ukraine with sufficient numbers. They've expended their Patriot supply in not only Ukraine but Israel also.
Israel as well, yeah.
They need to build up. They're not produced. You look at the. I don't have these numbers to hand. It's not my specialism, and didn't know we were going to talk about it. But you look at. I've seen the production figures, like how many tanks are being built, how many rockets of this certain type they can build in a year. So this really isn't much.
No, I don't disagree with that. But the thing is that doesn't matter when you're in a wartime economy. America's not in a wartime time. Neither is Europe.
Right.
If shit came to shove, they could easily ramp up to a wartime. We saw it during COVID, and that was a test run for any type of World War III type scenario.
Sure, and but here's the thing: you say it's not a wartime economy. Correct. What it is instead is we need a new Air Force plane fighter style. Why? Well, it's only going to cost you $9 billion. Sorry, $50 billion. Sorry, $220 billion. $400 billion to Lockheed Martin. Please give us the contract for $9 billion. Something like, and it's. I don't know how great it is to have these new next generation fighters. I do know this is a racket, and it's not.
It always is.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is all that military industrial complex is to make money. It's not about winning or fighting wars. We saw this in Vietnam. We saw this in all wars since World War II. Korea is a little bit different. That was a lot of surplus equipment. They still are in that mode. A lot of the soldiers that were, a lot of the officers and veteran military personnel were coming. We're coming from. Did I lose you? Oh, I got Swend in the house. What's up?
Hello, can you hear me well?
I can. We can hear you. I think everybody can hear you. So we were basically talking about World War II buildup. You're in South America. We're both in Europe. So, and
yes.
Basically, what I was saying is that, America does have that. They do have the surplus equipment capable. They don't necessarily need the personnel because, like I said, we saw with the new modern warfare, it's cyber and it's drones and it's technology. It's not going to be so much of trench warfare. I mean, we do see some of that in Ukraine, but tell us what's going on with China in South America. What you're seeing down there.
China is building a lot of ports here and critical transport infrastructure. They want to be able to extract a huge amount of fees because all of the transport that goes through those ports is taxed, and some of that revenue goes to the state, and some of that revenue goes to the Chinese company that helped build those ports and infrastructure. So it's a huge cash cow just because of the flow in of itself. And then, it's they have their own politicians. that are loyal to them here because they get bribed in one way or another. And that's what they're doing. They're expanding their sphere of influence here.
Yeah, that's basically what I was saying, and that's the main reason why we're seeing a lot of activity with Trump with Greenland. That's because of Russia, and with South America, why he's posturing, because he doesn't want China gaining any more influence in there. We saw this with the Panama Canal situation. But who do you think's winning and losing the influence down there right now? Because I know Trump gave a bailout to Argentina recently, and I guess they're transferring a lot of their gold to the U.S. faults allegedly. I don't have any verification on that.
Like if we talk strictly on, like, let's assume all of this geopolitical divides are real, I think America has the edge 100% because China is too far away. Until China had the naval capacity to deploy their navy for 5,000 miles, 8,000 miles here to defend their holdings here, they can't really do much. The best that they could do is try to start some sort of ideological driven armies to try to defend their holdings here. But that's like a far stretch. Like right now, America holds most of the dominance. If they wanted to, they can expel China.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, you know more than we do because you're there, but I think China and Russia are sitting in as isolationist type situation right now. I think they're trying to prevent America from gaining any more influence in the Asian Pacific, as well as in Europe. That's what I'm seeing right now here in Georgia. Currently, is that's what I'm hearing. At least I don't see it, but I hear it.
I disagree. I think that China and Russia are to insulate themselves or isolate themselves. I think they're trying to move away from dependency with the West, say, kind of. I mean, but you look at, for example, Liberation Day, which was a big thing. Big, everyone remember Liberation Day is going to change the world. And then it lasted until lunch. I don't even think it got to the early afternoon. By lunch, it was cancelled. Why? Because all the countries around the world, for example, Japan said, America, if you do this, like, we can't trade with you. It's not competitive. Like, it's going to be a whole new world order. Every country said that, and Trump backed down within before lunch, over lunch. You have BRICS, which is now the majority population, and I think the majority GDP. It used to be the other way around. The G7 were the majority GDP and a large chunk of the population. No longer.
Not just GDP, but PPP as well. It's risen quite a bit as well, and that's a better indicator of economic output. You're right on that.
BRICS, the global South, they're rising in share relative to, and not only is this a more recent phenomena, they've been rising in share relative to Europe since World War II, since the continent was set ablaze. Back in 1937, say, Europe was half the world's GDP. Now, is it 8% today? It's the old world was set ablaze.
Yeah, and that's a lot to do with the offshoring and the globalization